I've seen in the past that some people have been complaining that their pedals are out, or that they can't take off, or they're having errors. Now, as you can see in the bottom left corner, if you the normal setting is to hold right control and hit enter, and you'll see what settings, what axes are being moved and all this kind of fancy stuff, so you'll actually be able to see the input settings. Now, some people have complained that their plane can't take off or the toe brakes are set on. Sometimes it's because you need to invert the toe brakes, or if you're having issues with spikes or anything in your input device or whatever, you'll need to go in and change some settings. So I had a little bit of a help from the people on a Facebook page who are dedicated to DCS, and we threw around some ideas, and it turns out that my rudder pedals are spiking, but it's not that bad. That can be adjusted, and we threw around the idea of maybe dead zone might be causing issues, because when I would put my foot down on the toe brakes, if I released them, I would still have 1/3 of my toe brakes still on. So here we are mucking around with the dead zone, and I'm just demonstrating what saturation does. If you put that all the way down, basically as soon as you touch that, it becomes like a switch. So at that point I've figured out, hey, wait a minute, when I took my foot off of that, the brakes reset completely. So I'm having a bit of a test here. And eventually what I found was changing the saturation. See down in the bottom left, the brakes are getting lower and lower, those two little white marks. And we'll do it once more. And we'll see that I bring it down to about 60% or 55% or something. There we go, what's that? 50, I've put it to 60%. And you'll notice that what happens is the white marker goes down even further. And I set it on both of them, and I get rid of the dead zone. I don't need a dead zone on mine yet, but generally these settings kind of help for wear and tear, for rudder pedals and whatnot. I'm not sure what actually causes this issue. So yeah, as you can see, the little white marks on the bottom left have gone even further down. So eventually I get to 50% saturation on the X axis, and it works fine. I can get them right down to the bottom. The reason they went down to the bottom then is because I tapped W for brakes, and that forces through the button press input, so it's just an on off. So after I hit W, the brakes automatically come all the way off. But here we'll try 55, and it gets even further down. Let's see, 55, very good. Okay, try it again. Brakes on, brakes off. See, just that little bit above the line, so the brakes are just ever so slightly on. After I fix this and put this down to 50 and the white marks go back to complete off, I still have a fiddle with the toe brakes, just push them down a little bit and see how it goes, and you still get a good resolution on the toe brakes. For the ones that I'm using, which are the Thrustmaster TFRP, I'm sure the same thing would happen to the CH or the Satec crowd, because this isn't the first time I have heard this, and going over the internet and looking at how many people who are affected by this while I was trying to solve this issue, I'm quite surprised actually. It's quite a widespread issue that eventually just pops up. It just happens. So in DCS, reduce it down to about 50, and this time I've got footage of me just going 108 knots straight into the dirt at the end, because I haven't been able to reach V2. In this one I can hit V2 fine at 160 knots, and we rotate. I've still got to work on the rudders, because the rudder is still very sensitive, and I've got to work on that. Straight out of the box it worked fine, but after a while you kind of notice things are, it is quite sensitive, and you need to change some settings here and there to keep them going. But yep, there we go. I'm off. My button doesn't work, so then I have to manually hit gear up, because it's DCS 2.5. And thanks for watching.